Welcome back to BuzzOwl 9, your source for celebrity, societal and sports news commentary. Today the focus is on one of the most widely discussed geopolitical developments capturing global attention: the reported capture of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro by the United States under the direction of President Donald J. Trump. The operation was described as rapid and highly coordinated, and it immediately sparked a surge of interest across search platforms as people around the world looked for details. Searches for terms such as Maduro captured Trump Venezuela strike and Maduro Nike Tech sweatsuit rose sharply as the story spread. President Trump presented the mission as a decisive action against corruption and narco-terrorism and framed it as a necessary step toward regional stability. Reactions from leaders and officials around the world varied widely. Some expressed shock, others offered praise, and some voiced concern. Across Latin America, public sentiment leaned more positive, with polling in Mexico showing strong support for the capture and describing it as a long overdue stand against authoritarianism. In the United States, congressional responses were divided, with some lawmakers supporting the boldness of the operation while others questioned its legality and called for limits on presidential military authority. Inside Venezuela, opposition figures signaled readiness to step into leadership roles, while Maduro loyalists rejected the capture as illegitimate. The event has significantly influenced the political landscape of the Western Hemisphere and continues to generate discussion and debate. Major media outlets highlighted the extraordinary nature of the operation. Analysts noted that some of Maduro's recent public appearances, including moments where he seemed to dismiss U.S. warnings, may have played a role in the timing of the strike. Coverage also focused on President Trump's statement that the United States would help run Venezuela during a transitional period, a remark that drew strong reactions from foreign policy experts. Online, the response was immediate and intense. A photo released by President Trump showing Maduro blindfolded and wearing a gray Nike Tech sweatsuit went viral and quickly became a central part of the conversation. Memes spread across TikTok, X, and Instagram, and searches for the sweatsuit surged. Some users joked about the image while others used it to fuel political commentary. Millions of posts debated the morality, legality, and geopolitical implications of the capture, and the discussion continues to evolve. The U.S. intervention in Venezuela and its aftermath seems to reflect a dramatic escalation of its foreign policy. Just recently, the United States executed a major military intervention in Venezuela, culminating in the capture of President Nicolás Maduro. The operation, codenamed Midnight Hammer, targeted the Venezuelan leader in the capital city of Caracas. The successful completion of the mission was announced by U.S. President Donald J. Trump, positioning the event as a landmark foreign policy triumph and a decisive move against a regime long designated as an adversary by Washington. According to President Trump's official account, the operation was a comprehensive assault involving U.S. armed forces across air, land, and sea. The raid on a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas successfully resulted in the capture of both Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Cilia Flores. In his address to the nation, President Trump characterized the mission as one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. The administration's public narrative emphasized tactical perfection, with President Trump asserting that not a single American service member was killed and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. However, subsequent reports contradict this depiction of a flawless operation. According to a Pentagon official cited by CBS News, 2 U.S. service members are still recovering from injuries sustained during the operation, and President Trump himself acknowledged that one of the helicopters got hit pretty badly. This disparity between the administration's public narrative of flawless operation and the documented tactical costs highlights the political imperative to frame the intervention as an unequivocal success, even when faced with contradictory evidence. With Maduro in U.S. custody to face narco-terrorism charges, the administration swiftly moved to present its official justifications for this dramatic intervention. The strategic narrative justifying the intervention in Venezuela was critical for the U.S. administration, serving as its public case presented to domestic and international audiences. This narrative was built on a foundation of national security threats, economic grievances, and a reassertion of America's historical sphere of influence. President Trump articulated these justifications as necessary actions to protect American citizens and restore U.S. dominance in the Western Hemisphere. If you find this content valuable, be sure to like, share and post your comments about this topic. The core arguments presented by the administration for the intervention include narcoterrorism. The primary justification centered on the allegation that Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network, specifically the Cartel de las Olas. This cartel, according to the U.S. indictment, was responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States, leading to the deaths of countless Americans. However, experts cited by CBS News have suggested that these claims, particularly those linking Venezuela to fentanyl trafficking, are exaggerated. National security threats. The administration claimed that Maduro actively threatened the safety of American communities by sending savage and murderous gangs to the U.S. The Tren de Aragua gang was specifically mentioned as an organization deployed by Maduro to terrorize American communities nationwide. Restoration of American property. President Trump invoked a historical economic grievance, stating that Maduro's predecessors had unilaterally seized and stole American oil, American assets and American platforms. He described this as one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country, framing the intervention as a step toward rectifying this long-standing issue. Reassertion of the Monroe Doctrine. The operation was explicitly linked to a broader strategic goal of reasserting American dominance in the Western Hemisphere. The administration declared that this dominance will never be questioned again, signaling a revival of a centuries-old U.S. foreign policy doctrine. These official justifications, combining law enforcement objectives with grand strategy, set the stage for the administration's contentious economic plans for a post-Maduro Venezuela. Venezuela's vast oil reserves are central to the U.S. administration's post-intervention strategy. The plan envisions a revitalization of the country's dilapidated oil sector, led and financed by American private enterprise. However, this ambitious economic blueprint stands in stark contrast to the realities of the global energy market and the deep-seated reluctance of the very industry players the plan depends on. President Trump's declared strategy is to have very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, and start making money for the country. To incentivize this, the president has suggested that the U.S. government could reimburse companies for their investment, a cost that could ultimately be borne by taxpayers. Despite these overtures, the plan faces significant obstacles and profound skepticism from the oil industry. CEO reluctance. According to Jeffrey Sonnenfeld, Senior Associate Dean at the Yale School of Management, who is in direct contact with industry leaders, CEOs of major oil companies have no interest in returning to Venezuela. He stated that they have not been contacted by the Trump administration about the plan and that, unequivocally, no CEO wants to go back in. Historical precedent. The memory of past losses remains fresh. U.S. companies were burned badly when Maduro's predecessor nationalized assets, effectively kicking them out of the country. These companies subsequently won billions of dollars in international tribunals that were never paid, making them highly cautious of reinvesting in such a volatile political environment. Market conditions. Current market dynamics do not support massive new investment in high-risk ventures. The global market is facing a huge oil glut, with prices hovering around $57 to $58 a barrel, well below the estimated $75 a barrel needed to incentivize rebuilding Venezuela's industry. In the U.S., rig counts are at historic lows, and major firms like Chevron and ConocoPhillips have recently cut their workforces by 26% and 20%, respectively. Timeline and cost discrepancy. The administration's optimistic timeline is sharp at odds with expert analysis. While President Trump estimated that operations could be up and running in fewer than 18 months, Oil experts believe it could take a decade and cost anywhere from $100 billion to $1 trillion to rebuild the country's infrastructure. While the long-term plan faces resistance, the Trump administration has made an immediate move to control existing Venezuelan oil assets. The president announced that Venezuelan interim authorities have agreed to turn over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality, sanctioned oil to the United States. While the administration's long-term economic strategy faces major hurdles, the intervention itself provoked an immediate and deeply divided political reaction within the United States. Far from fostering national unity, the U.S. military intervention in Venezuela has exposed and amplified the profound partisan divisions within the American political landscape. The reaction in Washington, D.C., has been sharply split, with Republicans largely applauding the move as a decisive assertion of presidential power and Democrats questioning its legality, strategy, and long-term consequences. This is BuzzOwl 9 and thanks for tuning in.